You know, they thought they broke you, didn't they? Tore you apart, left you in pieces, laughed as you struggled to crawl out of the hole they threw you in. People love a tragedy, especially when it's not their own. But here's the funny part, they didn't kill you. No, no, no. They created something else, something stronger, something unrecognizable. They wanted you weak, but all they did was fuel your rebirth. And oh, when you rise, when you return, they won't be laughing anymore. No, my friend, the joke's on them. They knew exactly where to hit you, didn't they? They studied your weaknesses, your soft spots, the places where you were most vulnerable. And when the time came, they struck hard. Maybe it was betrayal, maybe it was humiliation, or maybe they simply walked away when you needed them most. They wanted to see you collapse under the weight of it all. They wanted to see you drown in your own sorrow, gasping for air, desperate for a way out. That pain they inflicted, it wasn't an accident. It was precise, intentional, a calculated move to ensure you would never rise again. At first it worked. You felt it in your bones, in your mind, in your soul. You carried it everywhere like a shadow that never left. The sleepless nights, the questions with no answers, the rage trapped inside you like a storm with no escape. They thought that was the end of you. But something happened in the silence, in the darkness where no one was watching. That pain didn't just sit inside you like a poison, it burned. And in that fire, something inside you changed. You stopped seeing pain as your enemy. You stopped letting it control you. Instead, you fed on it. Every tear, every scar, every wound became fuel. The more they hurt you, the stronger you became. What was meant to break you became the very thing that reshaped you. You didn't just survive it, you transformed because of it. The fire they lit to destroy you became the very thing that made you untouchable. And now that same fire is driving you forward, unstoppable, unshaken, untamed. They never expected you to withstand it. They pushed, they pulled, they twisted every knife they could find, waiting for the moment you would finally shatter. Maybe they whispered doubts into your ears, planting seeds of insecurity, making you question your worth. Maybe they stripped you of everything, your confidence, your dignity, your sense of self, until all that was left was a version of you they thought would never recover. They wanted you fragile, weak, dependent on their approval, begging for their mercy. They wanted to see you break into so many pieces that you'd never find your way back to who you used to be. And for a while they thought they succeeded. You stumbled, you fell, you questioned everything. You felt the weight of every lie they told you, every time they made you feel small. You were exhausted, drained, empty. But in those moments of despair, something shifted. You started realizing that brokenness is only permanent if you let it be. That the power they had over you was an illusion built on fear and doubt. You started picking up the pieces, not to rebuild who you once were, but to create something new, something indestructible. Every scar became a lesson. Every wound became wisdom. Every tear became a reminder that you had already endured the worst. And yet here you were, still standing. You didn't just heal, you evolved. You didn't just survive, you adapted. The version of you they tried to destroy no longer exists. In its place stands someone they never saw coming, stronger, wiser, untouchable. They wanted you broken, but they failed to realize one thing. Pressure doesn't just crush, it forges steel. They laughed at you, didn't they? Mocked your pain, dismissed your struggles, treated your setbacks like a joke. They whispered behind your back, making sure you heard just enough to keep you doubting yourself. They wanted to see you react, to see you lash out, to see you beg for their approval. Their words were meant to cut, to make you feel small, to remind you that in their eyes, you were nothing more than entertained. They thrived on your frustration, on your attempts to explain yourself, on the energy you wasted trying to prove them wrong. But you learned something they didn't expect. You learned that words are cheap, but silence is powerful. You stopped arguing, stopped defending yourself, stopped feeding their need for attention. You chose to disappear, not in defeat, but in strategy. You let them laugh while you worked in the shadows, let them gossip while you built yourself in silence. You understood that real power isn't found in proving a point, it's found in results. And while they stayed busy talking, you stayed busy transforming. The silence they mistook for weakness became the space where you sharpened your skills, rebuilt your mindset, and prepared for return they never saw coming. The moment will arrive when you no longer need to say a word, because your success will do all the talking. The same people who once laughed will sit in stunned silence, realizing too late that they underestimated the wrong person. Their words, their mockery, their opinions, they will all fade into irrelevance as they watch you become everything they said you couldn't be. They expected you to lash out, to crumble under the weight of what they did, to seek revenge in the way they understood, through anger, through chaos, through destruction. They wanted you to waste your energy trying to tear them down, to be so consumed by bitterness that you'd never move forward. They wanted your rage to be your downfall, their obsession with payback to keep you stuck in the past. That's how the cycle continues. One person destroys, and the other self-destructs in the name of getting even. But you chose differently. You realize that real revenge isn't about proving them wrong in the way they expect. It's about making them irrelevant to your journey. It's about turning pain into power, betrayal into wisdom, and failure into fuel. Instead of looking back, you set your eyes ahead. You stop playing by their rules, stop chasing after apologies you would never get, and stop giving them space in your mind. They became nothing more than a chapter in your story, a lesson that shaped you but would never define you. Reinvention is the kind of revenge they never see coming. While they stayed the same, you evolve. While they wasted time watching for your downfall, you were building something greater than they could ever comprehend. They expected destruction, but what they got was transformation. They wanted to see you broken, but instead they'll see a version of you they can't recognize. Stronger, wiser, untouchable. The best revenge isn't fire and fury. It's becoming someone so powerful, so successful, so unshakable that their actions no longer matter. And that's exactly what you're doing. They stripped you of everything. Your confidence, your peace, your sense of security. They walked away with no remorse, leaving you empty, exhausted, questioning if you had anything left. Maybe they took your opportunities, sabotaged your success, turned people against you. Maybe they betrayed you in ways you never saw coming, leaving you to pick up the broken pieces alone. They wanted to see you helpless, defeated, lost in the ruins of what once was. But they overlooked one thing: the fire inside you. They could take your resources, your support, your comfort, but they could never take your will. That force within you, that relentless drive, that unshakable determination, it remained. No matter how much they tried to bury you, something deep inside refused to stay down. Your will is what separates you from them. It's what keeps you moving forward when everything says you should quit. It's what turns loss into motivation, setbacks into stepping stones. They thought they had left you with nothing, but they only fueled your hunger to rise. What they took was temporary. What you have within you is eternal. And that is why they will never win. They thought they buried you. They walked away certain that you would never recover, never rise, never find the strength to become something greater. They believed they had the final say in your story, that their betrayal, their rejection, their cruelty had sealed your fate. They laughed, they celebrated, they moved on, as if you were nothing more than a casualty in their path. They never considered The possibility that the pain they inflicted would become the very thing that reshaped you. What they don't know is that you were never truly defeated. You were simply in a season of transformation, a process of breaking, rebuilding, and emerging into something unstoppable. The suffering they put you through became the fire that refined you. The silence they left you in became the space where you grew. Every scar, every tear, every moment of despair was molding you into a version of yourself they will no longer recognize. And when they finally see you again, it won't be the person they abandoned. It won't be the person they underestimated. It will be someone far beyond their reach. Stronger, wiser, untouchable. They will realize too late that their greatest mistake wasn't breaking you. It was assuming you would stay broken. They never saw it coming. They looked at you, maybe with pity, maybe with disdain, and thought they had you figured out. They assumed you were too weak, too soft, too fragile to stand up to the challenges they threw your way. They thought they could walk all over you, believing your kindness was a weakness, your patience a sign of powerlessness. They mistook your silence for surrender, your humility for insignificant. They believed their words, their actions, their disregard for you would keep you down. But what they failed to recognize was that you weren't broken. You were biding your time. You weren't hiding your strength. You were conserving it. You didn't need to prove yourself in the moment because you knew that real power isn't about immediate results. It's about long-term resilience. You learned to let them think they had the upper hand, to let them underestimate you while you quietly rebuilt your confidence, sharpened your skills, and prepared for the moment when you would rise. And now, as you stand stronger, wiser, and more focused than ever, they're watching you with eyes full of surprise. They never thought you'd come back like this. They thought their cruelty would keep you down, but instead, it made you unstoppable. Your success is the loudest rebuttal to their arrogance, the proof they missed in underestimating you. Their mistake wasn't just misjudging you, it was believing they could get away with it. The person you used to be is no longer here. The version of you that hesitated, that doubted, that let fear and insecurity control the decisions, she's gone. The one who worried about what others thought, who spent too much time trying to please people who would never value you, who allowed circumstances to dictate her self-worth, she's in the past. That person had to go. What you don't realize is that everything you went through, every hardship, every heartbreak, every failure, it was all part of the process. It was necessary for your transformation. You had to lose what you thought you needed in order to find out who you were truly meant to be. The struggles you faced were the foundation for the new you, the one who is no longer afraid of challenges, the one who knows her worth without validation from anyone else. You're no longer concerned with approval or opinions. You don't waste time on people who don't understand your journey. You've learned that your power doesn't come from outside sources, it comes from within. You know that your worth isn't up for debate, and your success is inevitable. The obstacles you once feared now fuel your fire. The rejection that once stung is now just a reminder that you're on the right path. The old you had limits, but the new you, the unstoppable you, she doesn't stop for anyone. She doesn't back down. She doesn't apologize for being strong, for being ambitious, for dreaming bigger than they ever expected. And she sure as hell won't let anything or anyone stand in her way. They thought they could break you, didn't they? They watched as you struggled, waiting for you to fall apart, hoping that you'd crumble under the weight of their actions. They assumed that their cruelty would hold you down, that their betrayal would silence you forever. They underestimated your resilience, thinking that their words and deeds could erase your drive. But what they didn't know was that their attempts to destroy you would only propel you to greater heights. You didn't need to lash out or seek revenge. No, you understood that success is the most powerful form of payback. It's not about proving them wrong with angry words or actions. It's about showing them just how wrong they were in the most undeniable way possible. Through your achievements, your success is the message they can't ignore. one that will leave them speechless and regretful. While they were busy doubting you, you were busy building something far more valuable than any momentary victory or petty revenge could ever offer. Every setback, every rejection, every moment of doubt only fueled your determination to rise higher. You used their negativity as a motivator, to push yourself further, to go after the goals they thought you'd never reach. And now, as you stand in the glow of your success, you realize that their hatred, their mockery, their attempts to pull you down were all just part of the process. Their actions didn't define you, they only made your victory sweeter. The best part? They'll be forced to watch you succeed, knowing they had a front row seat to your triumph, a triumph that will be remembered long after their words fade away. They thought you'd never make it. They thought they could hold you down, keep you small, make you feel like you didn't belong. They watched from the sidelines, waiting for you to fail, hoping you'd fall apart under the pressure. But what they didn't know was that you were never meant to stay down. While they were focused on your setbacks, you were focused on growth. Every challenge they threw your way only made you stronger. Every obstacle, every betrayal, every failure was just another stepping stone on your path to greatness. They believed their words, their actions, their attempts to hurt you would keep you from rising. But what they didn't understand was that your rise was inevitable. Your rise was inevitable. And now, as you continue to soar, they'll watch from below as everything they tried to tear down only builds you up stronger. Their crumbling will be the result of your unstoppable ascent. In the end, they thought they had the upper hand. They thought they could break you, control you, and keep you from ever reaching your potential. But the truth is, they were never in charge of your story. You were. And with every trial, every setback, and every moment of doubt, you grew stronger. You took their hatred and turned it into your fuel. You took their attempts to tear you down and used them to build a foundation that can never be shaken. Now, as you stand tall in your power, it's not about proving them wrong. It's about showing yourself how unstoppable you truly are. Your rise isn't just a victory for you. It's a lesson to everyone who thought they could hold you back. The sweetest payback? Watching them crumble as you continue to rise, as you continue to rewrite the story they thought they knew. And the best part? You're just getting started.